Hey everybody, this is Alex Merced from alexmercedcoder.com, and this is going to be first in a series of videos where I'm going to build a Express with Postgres API. So I'm going to show you how to get it set up. Specifically with, there's a lot of tools for working with Postgres databases in Node. They're typically called an ORM, an Object Relationship Mapper. What it does, it maps like objects and classes to your database schemas. I'm going to be using Knex Query Builder, which is really just a abstraction over SQL that allows you to directly do queries to your database. And then there's another tool called Objection that overlays on top of that that will map, that'll allow you to create sort of classes and objects that use Knex functions underneath them. Okay, so that's what I'm going to be doing today. So it's two libraries I'll be using. There are other ORMs. There's Sequelize, there's Type ORM. There are several different ORMs in the Node ecosystem. And you also have the option of just using the Postgres drivers directly and just sending SQL queries back and forth. So you do have several options available to you as far as how to work with a Postgres, MySQL, MariaDB, whichever SQL database you'd like to work with. It's not like Mongo where there's really just Mongoose. But first, let's get you set up. So I'm in my Express folder where I spin up Express apps, and I have a template already set up for this that already has Express set up, that already has Knex and Objection set up. So that way you don't have to worry as much about that part. Okay, you just type in npx merced-spinup. That's my template spin up tool. There's a lot of templates you can spin up with this. Do check out the documentation. We're going to spin up the expresspg, meaning Express Postgres template, and we'll just call this expg. Okay, that'll be the name of the folder it'll clone to, and then that should then see it creates our xpg folder with our project. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change directories into that folder xpg. Nice. And I'm going to go right over here to the folder, and let's just kind of walk you through what you got here. Now here I have a template.env because these particular templates, my Express templates, generally use yenv, Y-E-N-V, which is an environmental variable library that uses YAML files. Okay, and so this is just like a template of one. So all you have to do is rename it to env.yaml. So just take off the template, and you're good to go. Why? Because it's in your it's in my .gitignore, so I push it up as template.env, so that way you have a starter, just less stuff you have to worry about. So the main thing I have in there already, it's already set up to work locally. So basically, if you have a local development area, just make sure that it has the right username and password for your local Postgres database. But this should already work with mine because I have a local Postgres database called test with a user test and a user password. Okay, so that should all be good to go. Here's my server.js. That all is good. And this is how I bring in the environmental variables from the YAML file. So this function's pretty much all set to go. So that way, if this env.yaml file doesn't exist, it won't error. So I set that all up. I did all that work. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, this is your Knex file. So if you want to use the migrations feature, this file would be sort of, well, it's pretty much already set up because it's just pulling from your .env file, your yenv file. So not much you really have to change here. The README has just some directions, so you know what the different commands are. So there's a lot of different scripts I have set up on this particular template. Okay. Now there's two ways to seed your database or get your database set up. You could use the migrations feature, which you can watch my series on Knex, on just the basics of using Knex to see how the migrations feature works. I'm just going to be setting up my own files and using this make schemas feature. So basically, if you run this setup, what it does, it's going to go, you go to the database folder. Here's your connection file. So if you need to change anything regarding the connection, that's there. You shouldn't need to, okay, because technically this is all boilerplate. So basically what this is doing is bringing in the environmental variables. It is then bringing in the model class from Objection. It is then creating the connection with the database. Okay, connecting the Postgres connection to the model object, so that way we can create models from it that are connected to our database, and then exporting that. Then we would go to make schemas, and here's where we can actually create our tables. Okay, so basically you can just follow the syntax I have of this test one, as far as the syntax for creating a table. Okay, and you can always see the other functions in the Knex or the Knex documentation. But basically the way this reads is, here's the connection, and again we exported the connection from our connection file. So we use a schema function. Okay, and what we're doing here is we're checking, does the database already have a table called rats? Okay, now once it checks to see if the table has rats, that's where the .then comes in. It's going to check if it doesn't exist, so basically if the table does not exist, because this is a boolean that this returns, then what I'm going to do is I'm going to create the table. Otherwise, I just say the rats table exists. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I am going to create the rats table. Actually, let's change this. Let's just see here. Let's make this the cats table, just so we can create a different kind of API. So again, this table is going to be called cats, and has a primary ID. So this is creating a table column that's an ID. So this is the primary key. So it'll do that sequential thing. This is saying, hey, this is going to be a string with a name of 100 characters. And there's going to be a field called age that's an integer. Cool. So that's it there. Anything I want to do there? Yep. So then what I would do, I hit save. Okay. And again, I have to make sure that my database exists on my local Postgres server. And again, the settings should already be set up to connect pretty much locally. Now, if you want to connect to your production database, we'll talk about that later on. But you would just put in the details here. Okay, connection.js, good. PG model, okay, all fair and good. Now the command in order to seed our development database is this dev db setup script. So I'm going to run that. So that'd be npm run dev db setup. Oh, I should run an npm install to install all the libraries. That would be helpful. I just woke up, so I'm drinking some coffee. Okay, so let's run that command again. Okay, so let's see what it says. Looks like something went wrong there. Error, password authentication failed for user Alex Merced. Let me go take a look at my m.yaml. I didn't specify that. Oh, it's because it's doing it by using my default username. Authentication failed. Question is why? So let me see here. Let's go back to our connection.js. DB password, it should have used all this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to console log these variables, make sure they are what I think they are. Save. Okay, they're undefined. Okay, so it's not pulling the variables from there at the moment. So let me double check why. We're running make schemas. We're running pgcon. Let's see here, and that's my env.yaml is that. I think it's probably something with the script, which will then adjust. No, it's just, it says no DNV development, so it does know that we're using the development db make schemas. That's fine. Okay, require. So let me explore my end func just to explore it. End file, path. Okay, I have a feeling that I don't. I think I can actually get rid of this. Which in this case, I will update the template, so you won't have to worry about that. It'll be fixed. But let's see here, server.js and function. Make sure this makes sense. Yep, safe, because technically this file is located here, so that should then technically still work. Yep, there we go. That's what I need to do. Rat table exists. Good. Okay. So that was relative file paths. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, that's that, but it said cats. So I'm gonna go back to my make schemas. Choot, 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 choot. I'm just gonna run that one more time. We'll actually make this cats2 because I just want to see the message that it creates a table cats2. Okay, the cats table exists, whatever. Save. Back to terminal. Let's run that again. Cool. Okay, it ran the thing. I'm gonna kill it by hitting Control C. And then just to be 100% sure, I'm gonna go with the PG-SQL. Run my local Postgres server. Oh, it's been a while since I've done this. I think it's /l. Yep, there we go. And where's the one? We are connecting to a database I think called test. There we go, test. Okay, and just confirm that. So with my m.yaml, the database is test. Okay, good. Okay, so then I want to switch over, so /c test. Okay, and then I want to /list tables, which I think is dt. Yep, there we go, display tables. Okay, and do I see cats2? There's cats2. Good. Okay, so we created the table. Quit out of that, and then it's /q to get out of the Postgres shell. Okay. So we got that seeded. Now we want to actually see some data in our file. So then what we do here is I'm going to go in here. I'm going to import cat. We have to create the rat model. So let's, before we even do the seeding, let's go to our models, and then I'm going to make a copy of rat model. And then I'm going to rename it cat model. Okay, because if you follow this template model I have, life's going to be a lot easier. Pretty much has all the boilerplate for you already set. So we bring in the model object that we created in the connection file. I'm going to create a cat model. Okay, and basically what this just means is it's going to connect to the table that I specify here, which is going to be cats2 is the table we want to connect it to. So going forward, this cat object is connected to the cats2 table, and then I can define all the function it wants. All the normal full CRUD functions are all defined here. So all you have to do is just change all these references to rat to cat. Okay, so I can just do a Control F, change everywhere that it says rat to cat. Place all, there we go. Okay, and there we go. So we have cat.all. So this is essentially your functions for getting all the cats. Okay, cat.query select. So basically, in the basic way, the syntax for Knex, you're always using this query function, which means you're going to submit a query. So you're saying the cat object is creating a Knex query that is doing a select. And since I'm not passing any kind of query in there, it's going to select all of them. So you only want to get like a handful of cats with a particular query. You pass in an object with your keys and query values, and that gets passed in there, and you'll get returned the cats that you seek. If you want to create a cat, update by ID, delete by ID, and yep, there you go. And then what we do is we then export the object. So any kind of future queries we need, we can just add them to this this file here, we export the cat object, and now we can use it. So now we can go back to db, go back to seed file, and now instead we're going to import cat. We'll call this the cat model, and let's say it's a new cat. Okay, and again, here you don't want to make a copy of the file. You just want your seeding done in this file because the script is going to run this particular file. Okay. So new cat, test rat, and see, I don't have to bring in the environmental variables. I don't have to bring in the connection because technically the connection is already embedded in that model class that we created the cat from, which means we went all the way back to where the environmental variables were originally triggered. Yeah, it's all set up. Import and data the seed. Okay, so we'll create new rat. Okay, and what I'll do is I'm going to pass in an array of new cats because you can pass in multiple to create. Okay, so I'm going to hit enter. Cat. Okay, and these are all going to be cat. This will be cat 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, so then here's the seed. So it'll wait .cat.create, and it's going to create the, well, we should change this to new cats. So it's going to take that new cats array of new cats and pass that into the create. Okay, and then we're going to, after it's done doing that, we're going to go then query all the cats just to make sure that they were created, cat.all, and then we'll see, you know, did it all work? Okay. So let's see here. What's the script for that? If I go back to package.json, then here we go. Dev seed, npm run dev seed. That's going to run that seed file. npm run dev seed. Cool. And let's just expand this. See if we got it all added. Yep. So see where there we go. We have cat 1, cat 2, cat 3, cat 4. So we have some seed data now in our database. Good, 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 good. I hit Control C to kill the connection. Okay, cool. And again, if you're wondering exactly what libraries I'm using, you can always look at the package.json. Again, not too much. So Knex and Objection are really what are, and PG are what are driving the database stuff. Okay. So now we do that, we can create some controllers. Okay. So we can create some routes. So what I'm actually going to do to save us time, well, no, that tool that I made is for Mongo. I have a tool that will spin up a CRUD API right away. Okay, so what I'm going to do, new file. We'll call this the rats.js. This will be our rats router. Okay, we have Express in all of this, so const router. So we're taking the router from Express. So I'm assuming you have some knowledge of Express if you're watching this video. This is not a beginner's Express video. You can watch all my Express videos to do that first. This is just mainly showing you how to do Express with Postgres. Okay, so router. Okay, equals, and what I'm actually going to do is I'll continue this in a second video. So I'm going to stop this video, and in the next video what we're going to do is get the routes, get the API set up, and then in the final video we'll deploy it. So I'll see you guys in the next video. Make sure you join the Slack and Discord community over there at devnursery.com. Make sure to head over to alexmercedcoder.com and become a patron over there on Patreon. At the higher levels, you might get like free t-shirts and cool stuff like that, or t-shirts for being a patron. But also there will be other cool stuff, exclusive posts, early release posts, stuff like that, that will be available to patrons as we build things up. So check that out. I'll see you guys in the next video.